He was handcuffed for the fourth time this week alone. Bob Marley pressed himself against the patrol car on 125th Street and stood motionless, while Officer Michael Thompson searched him again, finding nothing, as he always did. What Thompson didn't see was his own daughter, standing in the crowd, watching her father become the very thing he was trying to escape. It was October 1979, and for Bob, New York City was supposed to be about the music. The sessions for the album Survival at Electric Lady Studios in Greenwich Village, the creative rhythm of Manhattan, were building into something powerful. But Thompson had other plans. A 38-year-old Irish-American from Queens, he had 15 years on the force and convictions as hard as his badge and armor. Bob's dreadlocks, his skin, his accent, all of it was building a profile in Thompson's mind, and that profile demanded action. It all started on a Monday evening in front of the studio. A 45-minute traffic stop, Thompson ransacking the cab and asking humiliating questions. "What's a foreign musician doing in our city? Are you here to sell drugs to our kids?" Bob remained calm, showed his papers, and explained. Thompson said he would be watching, and he did. On Tuesday, at a Caribbean restaurant, Thompson showed up, claiming there had been complaints about loitering. On Wednesday afternoon in Central Park, Bob suddenly fit the description of a mugger. Tall, dark-skinned, long-haired. Thompson pressed him against a tree under the eyes of tourists. Bob asked directly, "Why are you targeting me?" Thompson's answer ripped away any pretense. "Because people like you don't belong in the good neighborhoods." By Thursday morning, Thompson was fabricating suspicious movements for Bob in the hotel lobby, searching his room while the manager whispered apologies. Bob's response remained measured, almost philosophical. Some people carry hatred that has nothing to do with their targets, but the week was taking its toll, and Bob considered leaving early, cutting the sessions short, just to escape the harassment. Then came Friday night at the Apollo Theater. 2,500 people packed in, energy building as Bob performed, and Thompson positioned himself outside with a plan. Arrest him after the show. End this. What he didn't know was that Sarah Thompson, his 16-year-old daughter, was inside that theater with friends, and Bob Marley's music had become the only thing keeping her sane through her parents' disintegrating marriage. 6 months earlier, during the worst of the fights at home, Sarah discovered Bob's songs. Her father's drinking, his rage, the violence in his voice, it was crushing her. Bob's message about overcoming oppression, about dignity and resistance, it spoke to something she desperately needed to hear. Here, at the Marley Files, the untold stories, we uncover moments like this, the collisions between music and life that reshape everything. The concert ended, and Thompson moved in, handcuffs out, voice hard. "That's it, Rasta boy. This time you're coming with me." He grabbed Bob's arm, but then a voice stopped him cold. "Dad, what are you doing?" Sarah pushed through the crowd, her face a mix of shock and something worse, recognition. Her friends behind her, all of them stunned. Thompson stammered, tried to ask what she was doing there, but Sarah's answer hit him like a physical blow. She came to hear Bob Marley. He's her favorite musician. His songs help her deal with everything at home, with the chaos Thompson himself had created. Bob, still in Thompson's grip, spoke to Sarah with gentleness that seemed impossible given the circumstances. Asked her name. She answered through tears, apologizing for what her father had been doing. Bob looked at Thompson with something like understanding. "Officer Thompson, this beautiful young woman is your daughter." Thompson nodded, couldn't find words. Bob smiled despite the handcuffs. She has excellent taste in music. You should be proud. Sarah's voice shook as she begged her father to let him go, explaining that Bob wasn't a criminal, but a teacher, that his music carried messages about love and forgiveness and human dignity. Thompson felt something breaking inside. Months of watching Sarah retreat into her room, months of silence and distance he'd blamed on teenage rebellion. She'd been seeking somewhere else the love and understanding she couldn't find at home, and he'd been too angry, too closed off to see it. The handcuffs came off. Thompson stared at his daughter, horror dawning as he realized what his anger had caused. Bob asked to speak with him privately. They walked away from the crowd, and Bob, who had every right to be furious, spoke with respect instead. Talked about his own children, about how much it hurts to lose connection with them, but how it's never too late to rebuild. Thompson admitted he didn't understand what was happening, that he thought he was protecting his family. Bob's response was gentle, but clear. You're not the problem. Fear is the problem. Hatred is the problem. But those can be overcome. Your daughter's been searching for something she can't find at home, Bob said. Maybe instead of controlling what influences her, try understanding what she needs. Thompson confessed everything. The drinking, the fighting, the anger he'd been taking out on everyone. Sarah had stopped talking to him months ago. Bob pointed out that she was talking to him now, that she still believed the relationship could heal. How? Thompson asked. How do you fix something this broken? Start by listening, Bob said. Really listening. Ask her what she needs, instead of telling her what she should want. And stop using your authority to hurt people who are different from you. Your daughter's watching how you treat others, and she's learning what kind of man her father really is. Thompson looked back at Sarah, and for the first time saw his harassment through her eyes. Not legitimate police work, bullying, racism, something that made her ashamed. He apologized to Bob, but Bob redirected him. The person who really needs to hear your apology is your daughter. Thompson walked back to Sarah, aware of all the eyes on them. He apologized for driving her away with his anger, for making her afraid to share her interests, for harassing someone who meant so much to her. Sarah cried, but these were different tears. Relief. She just wanted to be a family again, wanted to talk without fear. Bob invited them both backstage, and what followed changed everything. For an hour at the Apollo Theater, Bob played songs on acoustic guitar, explaining lyrics, building bridges. Sarah sat between her father and her hero, while Thompson began to understand what his daughter had been seeking. One love, about how despite all our differences, we're part of the same human family. When we hurt each other, we hurt ourselves. Thompson watched Sarah's face light up in ways he hadn't seen in months, and he understood these weren't just songs. They were prayers, sources of strength. Bob looked at him directly. You have power to make things better, he said. The question is whether you'll choose to use that power to build up or tear down. The transformation was real, and it lasted. Thompson entered therapy for his drinking and anger, reconciled with his wife, rebuilt his relationship with Sarah through honest communication. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He requested a meeting with his commanding officers to confess his harassment of Bob Marley and other minorities during his career. His confession triggered an internal investigation that led to new training protocols for cultural sensitivity, new accountability measures for racial profiling. Thompson became an advocate within the NYPD for police reform, using his own transformation as proof that prejudice could be overcome. Community outreach programs, building trust between police and minority communities. And when Bob returned to New York for future concerts, Thompson was among the security personnel ensuring his safety. The formerly racist cop protecting the musician he'd once harassed became a powerful symbol within the department. Years later, when Bob Marley died, Thompson and Sarah attended memorial services together, and The Marley Files, The Untold Stories, continues to document moments like these, the ones that prove music can reach deeper than law, deeper than prejudice, into places where transformation becomes possible. Thompson spoke about Bob's forgiveness and wisdom, about how 1 hour backstage at the Apollo had saved his relationship with his daughter and fundamentally altered who he was as a man. But the weight of what could have been lost, the years of damage his anger had caused, that never fully left him. Some transformations come with a price you keep paying.